Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody's well. Um, I've got a guest, Jew, here with me. Uh, just get the invite through. Just teacher. Okay, yeah.
Hi,
Hi there.
a minute.
It's okay.
Let me put my camera.
It's okay. Hi there.
Hi. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Raiza.
Hi,
I was saying
Raiza.
Raiza. Okay.
Hi,
Nice to meet you,
nice
everybody.
to meet
I just introduced myself for anybody from your social medias who doesn't know who I am. I'm Gareth. I'm from England. I live in Salvador Bahia, and I'm an English teacher and translator. Tried to be active on social media. This is the fifth Instagram interview. I knew everybody else first, but Raiza I found on Instagram, who's also an English teacher. I'd invited her
you.
on, and she agreed. Some people are a little shy, others not so much. Okay, Raiza, can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, sure. I'm Raiza. I'm from Marília, the countryside of São Paulo.
Okay.
Yes, far from you.
Yeah.
Very far from you. And I'm an English teacher for 14 years.
Hmm.
I've lived in London for almost 2 years.
Yeah. When was that?
I studied yeah, the best 2 years of my life.
Mm.
I love that place. Everything there was beautiful, and I, I, I can't say. But I didn't learn English there.
Okay.
I learned it at school. I learned it at school because since I was 6 years old, I loved English. I wanted to study,
Hmm.
and I started the English courses. Then, when I was 21,
Hmm.
I moved to London. It was the best experience
So
ever.
that was you're at a university there.
Yes, I attended to Birkbeck University, and
Tilbeck.
I Birkbeck,
Beerback. Okay.
Birkbeck, yeah,
I have to think
and
about that one.
London Study Centre. It
Hmm.
was a language school because I
Ah.
needed the visa,
Okay. Yeah, you
and
need to
then
study
I
visa.
well, yeah, I needed the visa, so it was great.
Hmm.
And tell me, why are you in Brazil?
My wife's from Salvador, so I moved here with her. Uh,
Uh,
when I lived in England, I was a personal trainer and a gym manager, so I worked in that kind of field before. I did a TEFL course, so I moved here 5 years ago and did a TEFL course before I came. I've been teaching about 5 years. Been doing academic translations, CVs,
mhm.
many things like this. So, what made you choose England ahead of other English-speaking countries?
Since I was a child, I wanted to know the city, but I think because of the Rolling Stones.
The Rolling Stones? Yeah, my dad's a big Rolling
Yeah.
Stones fan, so I was always very familiar with
Uh,
them.
yes, they are my favorite band, and since I was a child, then I searched about them and listened to
Hmm.
their music,
So you picked
and
their hometown.
yes,
Yeah. I think, for example, I'd say maybe 90% of people who visit Liverpool as a city just because of the Beatles.
no, I didn't leave Liverpool because I don't
Um,
like the Beatles.
I prefer the Rolling Stones too, but my in-laws all prefer the Beatles. But yeah, I'm on Team Rolling
No.
Stones. But
Yes,
that's the thing with Liverpool, for example. Almost all of their tourism is related to a band. London, it's not the same because it's obviously capital cities always dominate tourism. But yeah,
I
Okay, what we say?
regret not going to Liverpool, but I can't stand the Beatles. I
I don't
didn't.
know. I've not actually been to Liverpool. I've been close there, but I've not been. Um,
No,
no, I've not been to Liverpool. The city I live in, Leeds, which is in the centre north, you would say. So it's right in the middle in the
I've heard
north.
about.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's the third biggest city in the country. Uh, it wouldn't be difficult for me to go into Liverpool. It's 2 hours on the motorway that direction. But I never felt like going, so I didn't. I don't have any
oh,
issue
that's
or objection. I just never gone.
finally I found someone like me that isn't impressed by the Beatles.
Because my dad likes blues music predominantly, and so he listens to a lot of the old blues music, B.B. King, Howlin' Wolf, uh, Muddy Waters. So these kind of guys as well. So my dad listens to the original blues from America, and Rolling Stones were the first
And he
British
likes
rock
to.
blue bands. Yeah, so
Yeah.
he preferred that style more. So I'd heard a lot more of it because there's music of my own generation. That's the big band of my time is Oasis. That's my favourite band. Um,
Yeah.
I don't remember. Obviously, my dad can remember the Beatles and Rolling Stones becoming famous, but me no. I'm too young for that.
We were too young.
Yeah, I found out there is a lot of people who learn English because of music. One of my past guests and friends, he got into English because of heavy metal. So he's really into Iron Maiden, especially. I like the others as well, but that's his favourite. There's a lot of people that learn English because of our music.
But do you like? Sorry, my daughter.
It's okay.
Tá, tá bom, amor. A mamãe tá ocupada agora. Não tem problema, vai lá com a vovó. Sorry, sorry, sorry.
It's
She
okay.
doesn't understand. She's afraid of the rain.
uh,
And she said, Mommy, Mommy,
yeah,
there is a thunder. She's
uh,
afraid of that.
it's okay.
But do you agree? I'm not into teaching English with music. I don't like
Okay.
it. Do you
Well,
like?
I don't over rely on it. I think in moderation. I think some. It depends what music you use. Depends on
Yeah,
the level as well. If there is more of a point, I'll give an example. Um, Present continuous tense. I've used Jimi Hendrix, Hey Joe. It's because
I
it's in the
love
correct
Jimi
tense.
Hendrix.
Yeah, Jimi Hendrix is great. But that whole song's in present continuous tense. There's another one, a song by Jack Johnson, Sitting, Waiting, Wishing. That's all in past continuous
Oh,
tense.
yeah.
When I was in a school and it was what you call Dia de Conciencia Negra, so I used Bob Dylan's Hurricane then, but that was more about the story than anything else. So there are
Uh-huh.
times it can be good. I've seen people suggest some stuff with really dumb lyrics that doesn't mean anything. Um, I've given two examples where a song uses a certain tense. Um, a bit of fun at the end of a class, it can be, or if you've got a long class and you want to break it down. For example, with Bob Dylan, there's a quality of lyrics that's very high, very well written lyrics. For example, you wouldn't learn Portuguese well from every singer, but maybe someone like Chico Buarque, Legia Urbana, somebody who writes better, Caetano Veloso. There's people who write better lyrics than others, but for Bob Dylan, I believe you need quite advanced students because it's not simple language. I think
Yes,
so.
that's a big problem.
Yeah, there's a lot of slang and bad grammar in songs. Lots of good music that doesn't have good grammar with it. Unless you have
That's why.
that's a can be an issue, can be a positive. You need to say, Pink Floyd, another brick in the wall. There's a double negative in that. If
Yeah.
you have problems with Brazilians and double negatives because they're okay in Portuguese, they're not okay in English. That's just there for it
Yes.
to flow and sound correct. If you say pick out the grammar mistakes in this song, can be good. But I think some people want to post on social media I use these songs because people like to listen to whatever band's cool from England or America, and this song's great. There's songs that are about nothing and don't really have much learning purpose. Gap fill
Yes,
exercises can be, but I actually think TV programs, the popularity of
yes.
Netflix is a strong thing for me. English
For me,
audio, English subtitles. I think
yes.
it's
You know,
better than
I
music.
use BBC Learning English a lot.
Mhm.
It's my favorite network for conversation and
Yeah,
news, exercise. Even for children, I
yeah,
use BBC Learning English. I love this channel.
yeah, yeah. Everything on BBC Learn English, BBC World News, anything BBC. One of the things they say in England is BBC is the home of good grammar. So
Yeah,
you get a news article from BBC, whatever, sports, arts, science and nature, depends what your student is interested in. I've got students who are scientists. Loads of people love
yes, the
football, so
game.
you can have a
Yes, the
football match
games,
review.
the news. Yes, I like the videos.
Yeah,
We choose the subject and they have the video, the conversation.
yeah,
It's very
very good
important.
materials.
Yes, a complete material. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always good quality, all free, because the BBC is funded by taxpayers in Britain, so it's fully public. So there's no financial interests from outside of British government. So if you live in England, I don't know if you had to pay a TV license. You pay TV license.
No,
No, you didn't pay it. It's okay. You won't get in trouble. It's fine. I don't think
I,
any senior
I
people from the
didn't
BBC
watch
are
it,
watching. You didn't?
but I listened a lot, but
Yeah.
I didn't watch
If
on
you don't have
TV.
a TV, you're fine. You're not in England, so you can't get in trouble now anyway. But you pay a TV license. That money goes to the BBC. They get some central funding from the government. So that goes. There's BBC TV channels, BBC Radio, many websites. There's Bite Size, which is what was there for school children in England to study for school exams. There is things about history. It's all British history usually.
Really?
Yeah, there's many things. Um, I do a special class for November the 5th. I don't know, were you in England in November? You remember? November the 5th,
Yes, I
bonfire night, the
was
fireworks, the bonfire. It's
there.
pretty much
I
English
was there.
as well. Yeah. So I teach a class about the gunpowder plot when it's that week, and I've got my students, and almost all the materials are BBC. Got little videos, texts. So when it's the first week of November, I use this class. So BBC materials are very good. When it's one of the
Yes.
British Saints days, I get materials about that saint and that country from BBC as well. So then I think the next Saints Day will be St Andrew's Day at the end of the year. They've all passed. Had St David's Day, St George's Day has been, St Patrick's Day has been, I think. Yeah, they're all the first half of the year apart from St Andrew's Day. I think it's November. I need to check on my diary, but
I said about this because your voice and your accent, of course, is like the man that talks to Fei Fei on the English we speak.
I don't
You
know.
have the same accent.
Do I? I have what's called the Yorkshire accent. You'll know this word. That's my region of England is Yorkshire, because England is divided into counties, and Yorkshire is
Yeah.
in the north, further northeast, and it's the biggest county. People in Brazil will know because of the little dog. You pronounce Yorkshire,
Yes,
but
Yorkshire.
it's
Yeah,
Yorkshire how we pronounce it in England. Yeah.
Yorkshire.
So that's where the little dog comes from. So yeah, that dog's from my region of England.
You know, in London, I lived in Wimbledon.
Wimbledon. That's fancy.
Wimbledon. Yeah, and I lived three neighborhoods. Wimbledon. I forgot the name. Close to Wimbledon. South Southfield.
That, I don't know
Southfield.
that one. Wimbledon's very
Uh,
famous because of tennis.
yes, because of tennis. Yes,
Yeah,
and I went to the tournament once. When I
really?
arrived there,
A lot of money.
yes, no, that time I could go. And then I moved to 7 months later. I moved to Southfield. It's I just remember about train stations. Two
Ah,
train stations ahead to Wimbledon.
yeah.
Then I moved to Old Street.
Old Street.
Old Street. Yeah.
I don't know these
Far.
places.
No.
No,
Close to Liverpool Station.
Liverpool Street
Close.
Station. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know some names of stations. There's things from the Monopoly board. You can Banco
Uh,
Immobiliare. Yeah, that's all bits of London. So you know things on the Monopoly board. I've been to London a
yeah.
few times, but such a big city. If you're not from there, it's you know famous places. Uh, you'll know football clubs. You'll know the places on the
Chelsea.
Monopoly board.
London Study Centre was close to Chelsea Stadium.
Yeah, yeah, they are close to Chelsea. If it Wimbledon's southwest, Chelsea's west.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like Chelsea, but okay.
I
They're
don't
close
know
ones.
anything about soccer.
You don't like it? No. Uh,
I don't know.
uh, it's a good afternoon. Yeah, good evening.
Good afternoon.
That's
Good
way
evening now.
dark. Yeah, I don't know. There could be somebody from another country.
Yeah.
Nice evening here. Yeah. So, how long have you been an English teacher?
Um, since I was 14 years old. When
14.
I was,
You were teaching when you
yes,
were
because
14.
yes, because I always loved English, and when I was a high school student, I used it to help my teachers
Ah,
with
okay.
my friends. Yeah. Then I studied law.
Ah,
Yes, I studied law and letras.
yeah. Languages.
Yes. Then I moved to London after law. I moved to London. I studied there. Then I started teaching here. When I arrived in Marília, I got my first job.
Yeah.
Then
So,
yes, then
so an
I
English
never
school?
stopped. Yes,
Which
language
school?
schools. Now I worked at CCB, FISC, Ale Idiomas is a school from my city, but now I work at regular schools.
You're a normal teacher, school teacher. Okay.
Yes, but an English teacher,
Yeah.
a normal teacher
Yeah.
at normal school.
Yeah.
I don't like to work at language schools because of the pandemic. They are closing
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Uh,
the online courses.
yeah, online stuff's overtaken. Yeah, pretty much
Yeah,
works just online. Presential got a bit more difficult with pandemic, and the cost of petrol now is
yeah,
absurd. Yeah, people don't want to pay for petrol. I don't want to pay for
no,
petrol. Students don't. You
yeah,
can stay in your own house.
yes,
Even with normal school, I believe that there's certain lessons that could be just online, so they could link the
yes,
school's less crowded. It's only really physical education and science that I think actually need to be on site. Because you can't do practical science at home. You don't have a laboratory. You can't do sport at home, really. It should be. They could have kind of
yeah.
halved it like that and say you come in when it's time for science and physical education.
But
Because English works online very well. Portuguese would, mathematics would.
English
Yeah, many
for
things work
English
online.
and in some schools. I don't want to remember my online days in one of the schools I work.
Why was it
It
bad?
was
Hmm.
very hard, because they had some problems with the former teacher,
Yeah,
and I started working there, and 1 month later, the pandemic started.
yeah. I started at one
So,
English school just before the pandemic started. I think I'd been working there 6 weeks. So there was carnival, and then I started work after carnival, and then there was about a month of okay, and then the world ended. So yeah, I'd
Yeah.
been at a school 6 weeks before I needed to close the doors, and then went online. Well, it stopped altogether until the government stopped paying 100% of salaries. Then they managed to find a way to teach online. I would have taught online right away if they'd have done it, but I'm not going to name names about companies just in case they try to sue me, but this happened. um, I don't work for a school, and well, I work for one school online, and the rest of it's private. It's this one school online is just a conversational English with native school, and
Oh, nice.
I don't work for a normal traditional school. There's certain schools that won't hire natives, certain schools that will just hire natives, and there's nothing in between. I don't know if you've noticed that or not. Um, to name names, it's the more traditional ones that have a problem with natives. It's the newer ones that prefer or don't have a problem. I don't know if they prefer, because everywhere I've worked has been Brazilians, not always has been natives. The last school I
Wow.
worked at, I was the only native there. But then Salvador doesn't have that many English people or North Americans or whatever. It's mainly Brazilian people.
For example, let me ask you something. When you are teaching,
hmm
do you like to teach the grammar
I think
or just conversation?
I teach grammar, but in conversation form. So I do grammar in context. When I'm left to my own devices, I'm not given instructions like private classes or I'm told to do what I want. If I want to teach a certain tense or something like this, I will think of the situation you use this tense, which group of vocabulary fits this tense and this situation, and I mix it together in the same class. So, for example, simple present tense, I would teach with daily routine items. Can be
Of
think
course.
about things like that. That's one example. Simple past, you could have school subjects in there, family memories or activities, because you can talk about this in the
Yes.
past. If you're teaching an adult and you talk about school vocabulary, like the names of the subjects, parts of the school, words for like lessons or memories of studying, because you're teaching about the
Uh,
past, if you pick the correct vocabulary to go with the correct grammar, you can make it into a conversation. If I have more
and
advanced students, it's ready to talk
do
about
you
what's
have
necessary.
any tips for me when I'm teaching the present perfect?
Present perfect is one of the
To
things I
me, is
always
one of
say.
the easiest subject for me, but for the students are the hardest because we
Yeah,
don't have it in Portuguese.
yeah. It doesn't need to exist in English, actually. It could not exist. It'd be quite. Because you're just saying present perfect, you're saying something that's happened in the
In
past
the
without
past.
saying when. You could just say when it happened if you
Yeah,
knew. You say, yeah, I've been
we
to.
don't use words related to past, yesterday, last week, last month,
Mhm.
a
Yeah,
few hours ago. Yes, I know
yeah,
this, but the students they are very apprehensive because of the past participle.
yeah. I
It's
the first perfect tense I teach is past perfect, and I sort of put it in ordering in the past. So I'll have simple past,
simple
past
past,
continuous
present perfect.
with the interruption, and then past perfect. So this happened first. That had makes it
Uh,
further in the past. That's the first
yes, because you
perfect
can
tense I
use the
explained.
timeline.
Yeah, you can make a
Yes, you can
timeline
use the
out three.
timeline.
So that is something I do with that one. Present perfect, it's like something you've done at a random time in the past. I could say, oh yeah, I've been to Rio de Janeiro. I've been to Sao Paulo. I've not said when. I need to think about
Yes,
the date, so I can just say I've been. If it's something you know you've done, but you can't remember when, it's the perfect time to use. So it's one of those that's, and I say you can avoid using it as with all perfect tenses. The people get really scared about tenses. I'm like, you can avoid
yes,
some of these. Yeah, it's good
yes.
to
No, no.
recognize it. But I think people
Yeah.
get an obsession with studying all this grammar. and they get scared to talk because the need in their mind to have perfect grammar just gives them nerves about speaking. When it's better when you're teaching conversational English, so for somebody to risk and be wrong and correct them, then pretty much force somebody to study grammar until it's okay to talk. When I was worked for a conversational English group, and the people who struggled to talk most were people who went to Academia, Cultura Inglesa, Fisk, because they're very grammar based. They don't do enough listening and enough conversation, so they struggle. They've spent all this time studying grammar books with explanations in Portuguese. If you need to explain grammar in Portuguese, it's too advanced for that student. They should learn enough communication to understand an explanation in English. They can't do that.
Yeah.
You ignore grammar until they can communicate well enough to understand an explanation in English. Because if you think of grammar, English grammar in Portuguese, you're going to get confused. Not everything exists.
Yeah.
Could I learn in English how to do subjunctive, just thinking in English? No, doesn't exist in English. Exists in French, exists in Portuguese, doesn't exist in English. I can't learn the subjunctive without thinking in Portuguese. So you can't learn present perfect without thinking in English. So that's what people translate in the brains. That's the problem.
Yes, the problem is the translation. Students must learn how to set a sentence, not translate a sentence. They must think in English, because if we start thinking in Portuguese just about translating and translating, we can't form a sentence.
No.
It's impossible, because in English we don't follow some rules, and the words we can't translate literally. It's very difficult for the students if they don't see this. It's impossible.
Translation is just the worst. That's what people get stuck on. Like when you say people can study on Netflix, if you are Brazilian and you watch an English language program in Netflix with Portuguese subtitles, you don't pay attention to what you're listening. Your brain will take the easy option and read the Portuguese, and that's all you're going to register with your brain. Once you put both inputs into English, you're getting two types of input into your brain in English. You can't think of anything but English when that's all that's coming into your brain. Your brain will take the easy option. I watch a Brazilian film and I put English subtitles. I don't listen properly anymore. And sometimes, you don't. It's subconscious. You'll take the easy option. Reading English is easier for me than listening to Portuguese.
Your brain goes to the easier way. You won't listen. You will read. It's easier for you.
That's why Portuguese on Portuguese works for me. I can watch films without subtitles if there's not a very strong accent. I've watched, I saw Carangiru without subtitles. That took a bit of effort to follow, but I managed to watch it without subtitles and understood what was happening. What else have I seen without subtitles? Mina Maya Uma Peça. I think I got the jokes, most of them.
Yeah, but you don't understand because you don't know the real language.
Yeah, you can get some jokes, but not everything. Yeah, a sense of humor of a country is very, very specific. So, like, I've watched a comedian in English, Jimmy Carr. Have you listened to him before?
No, I don't know.
Watched him with my wife. I was laughing at almost everything, and she laughed like twice. And Jimmy Carr's really funny. And that's because the British humour is not really in her brain properly. And my wife will watch comedy and be laughing a lot, and it's Brazilian comedy. And I'm like, what's funny there? That wasn't funny. Then she'll explain it, and then I'm like, oh yeah, maybe it was a bit funny. It's not easy comedy.
Have you heard about a sitcom named The IT Crowd?
Oh, the IT Crowd, yeah. I've seen it before. Yeah,
Yes, I love them.
I do like the program. It's good.
Yes, but 2 months ago, I I put on my class to watch with my students. They hate it.
Why do they hate it?
They hate it because they didn't understand.
What's not to
They
understand about
didn't
that computer advice? Don't they say that here in offices to try turning it off and on again? That's the solution to every computer problem. That's that's
you
kind of a
know.
going joke in Britain generally, not just there. It's like, the computer's
Oh,
not
you
working,
know,
the printer's not
uh,
working.
I my favorite episode is the one with I forgot the word in English, but I think dizzy eyes.
Oh, lazy eyes like this. Oh,
Uh, not lazy. They used another word, and for me it was the funniest episode.
bog eyes,
And they
bog
didn't.
eyed. Somebody being bog eyed, can't see properly. That might have been what I said. I don't remember
Uh,
exactly.
I remember the blonde guy was in love with one of the girls that
Yeah,
works there with them, and she said she has a sister with dizzy eyes. I'm not sure the word. And he started working a campaign to earn money to pay the treatment.
yeah,
And all the girls were very beautiful, were wonderful, but they had dizzy eyes. They didn't like, and I laughed a lot.
yeah.
I don't remember the word, but I'm going to remember the right word. But it was nice, and they
Lazy.
didn't like. Oh,
If you've got a lazy eye, your eye doesn't move much inside its socket.
no, it's not
Cross-eyed,
lazy eye.
cross-eyed. It might be crazy eye. I don't know
Yeah,
all these things.
it's the same as cross-eyed, but they had another word. I'm going
Bog-eyed.
to search. I don't remember the name, but I loved this episode, and I love
Yeah.
it. But they didn't like. It's not funny. We didn't like it.
Yeah.
Okay,
It is a good
but
program. I did enjoy it. I've not seen all of the episodes, but I used to watch it on the TV sometimes. It's a Channel 4 program. Channel 4 has a lot of good programs in England. They make a lot of good comedies.
I don't like Mr. Bean.
You don't like Mr. Bean? Seems to be a lot of people
No,
like Mr. Bean. I liked
I
Mr.
don't
Bean
like.
more when I was a child. Rowan Atkinson, the actor, has another program. Have you heard of Blackadder?
Sorry?
Black, Blackadder.
No, I don't
You
know.
didn't see that in England. That's better than Mr.
No.
Bean because it's the same guy. It's just got good dialogue in. It's not just silly facial expressions and silly things that Mr. Bean is. Uh, a lot of people like Mr. Bean in Brazil. Actually, it's quite popular.
Yeah. Yes, but I think we only know him as a comedian,
He's a very
a
serious
British.
actor. He's one of the best
Yeah.
actors in England. He's a proper actor. He does serious stuff as well. He was interviewed and he was talking about people recognizing him as Mr. Bean rather than his name Ron Atkinson. So he's one of the better actors in England, and he gets recognized for a silly role he had a long time ago. He can be a serious actor as well. He's not a comedian, for example. He's not just a
Yes, but
clown like he looks in Mr. Bean.
it
Mr. Bean
must be
makes him look
hard
a
to
clown,
see
but he's a
him.
very good actor.
Yes, it must be hard to see him in another role
Yeah, it
and
happens.
not think about Mr. Bean.
Yeah,
Difficult. Like
there is that.
like the actor of Everybody Hates Chris. He doesn't like when people calls him Chris. Do you know that sitcom?
I think I've seen one or two episodes, not a lot of them.
Yes, but the actor, uh, then he grew up and then he worked on Criminal Minds,
Yeah,
and he didn't like that everybody calls him Chris.
uh,
But nobody can think about him without being Chris.
yeah.
It's just Chris. Everybody
That's the
has
main
Chris.
success of his career. So the main success of your career as well will stick. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so Do you say you had a class at 8:30, or is that okay?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
So we'll have to stop there. It was very nice to talk to you. Maybe we can have another live again sometime.
Oh,
Yeah.
just call me, just tell me, and we can do again.
Okay.
I love
So
it, and
for
I hope
for
I can
those,
help.
okay, it's a good live. For anybody watching, if you've missed the start and want to watch again, it will be saved onto my profile, and I put these on YouTube as well. If you want to catch later.
Sure. I'm
It,
gonna share on my profile too.
okay, yeah, if you can do that as well. Okay, yeah, you'll be able to find it on
Okay.
either of our profiles to watch again, and I will put it on YouTube so you can subtitle it automatically.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
going
you can type
to
in
show my
subtitles.
students.
Yeah, yeah, share with our students for some listening practice. Okay, have a nice
Okay.
evening
You
and a
too.
nice rest of the week. Okay, bye bye.
Thank you very much.
You're
Nice
welcome.
to
Bye
meet
bye.
you.
Nice to meet you too.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.